Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy, Hikins and Trevor.
Family's house, friend's house. We don't fall out of beds, even if it's a much narrower bed than we're used to, or a much bigger bed or whatever. So there's something in the way that evolution perhaps keeps us safe in terms of falling, and because we're unconscious, we're paralyzed. So again, it all helps to keep us safe while we are unconscious. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, sorry, it was just a moot point on what you were saying there. I was literally just about to say maybe that is the evolutionary process as to why you go through that stage of paralysis, is to keep, like you said, when you're up in trees, hiding from predators. Because if you notice, infants, they tend to fall out of bed, but adults tend not to. And obviously, we've had more time to adapt to our sleeping patterns, our routines, to the paralysis of going to sleep. I think something else that's quite interesting that is probably worth maybe another episode on is mostly when you wake up from a dream, especially if you've had a dream interrupted, you struggle to remember it. Following back to something that I mentioned earlier when you mentioned brainwaves, and so obviously Nikola Tesla was not in any way a neuroscientist. In fact, he weren't a scientist at all by any means. Most people would argue that he was only an engineer. I think he's probably one of the greatest scientists to ever walk the face of the earth. That's my opinion. But he says if you want to understand the universe, think energy, frequency and vibrations. And what are brainwaves? It's energy, it's frequency, it's vibrations. And if you can think in the likes of energy, frequency and vibrations, then almost anything is possible, really.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Yeah, it's a fascinating subject, if only in the sense that there's never been an explanation why we need it. We do need it. We die if we're deprived of sleep, but we don't ever really need it. There was another researcher whose name I can't really remember. It was a German name, I think, some time ago, and he observed that unless we find that sleep has an absolutely vital function, then it would otherwise be the biggest mistake that the evolutionary process has made, that it requires us to sleep. And unless it really is vital, which clearly it is, but we don't know why, then it would be an evolution mistake, which would be hard to imagine, really. We know that all animals need to sleep. Again, it's quite interesting that horses and elephants, for some reason, only need between 2 and 3 hours sleep a night, whereas most mammals, including us, and animals need much more than that. I mean, I think it's reckoned that humans need 7 to 8 hours sleep a night, and not just laying there because you can't sleep. You're laying there comfortable and warm and not doing anything. But that's not the same effect as having sleep. If you did that all the time instead of sleeping, you would eventually die, because you're not actually having this recuperative thing that we call sleep. So yes, animals need it. Even apparently they've done observations on things like fruit flies. Even fruit flies, tiny little things which don't live for very long anyway, they have periods of absolute quiescence, absolute rest and silence, and any animal they've ever researched has the same.
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.